JOBY Aviation makes history with first eVTOL flight between public airports. JOBY Aviation announced the successful completion of a test flight between two public airports in FAA-controlled airspace, flying from Marina to Monterey, California. The 12-minute flight covered 10 nautical miles and included 5 minutes in a holding pattern as the aircraft interacted with other traffic. This marks the first time a piloted eVTOL air taxi has flown between public airports, a milestone toward FAA certification and commercial readiness. JOBY also showcased the ability to run multiple flights with full ground support provided remotely. Shares are up 250% over the past year and 121% in the past 6 months, far outpacing the S&P 500's 6% gain.
Trump's solar tax credit guidance softer than feared. Stocks surge. Solar stocks rallied after the Trump administration issued federal tax credit guidance that was less punitive than the industry had feared. First Solar, plus 11%, and Enphase Energy, plus 8.1%, were among the top S&P 500 gainers. Residential solar systems will continue to qualify under prior rules, with no retroactive changes, while larger projects must meet a physical construction standard, but still have 4 years to complete. NextEra Energy, plus 4.4%, Array Technologies, plus 25.3%, and Nextracker, plus 12.2%, also surged. The decision could impact over 2,500 announced wind and solar projects, representing a generating capacity equal to 383 nuclear reactors, according to Bloomberg NEF.
Model YL, coming soon as Tesla battles BYD in China. Tesla announced on Weibo that it will launch the Model YL, a 6-seat, long-wheeled version of its Model Y, in China soon. The new design, which extends the distance between the front and rear axles over a standard version, is tailored to Chinese consumer preferences for long-wheelbase cars. Tesla also plans to introduce a longer-range rear-wheel drive Model 3 in China. The move comes as Tesla faces weaker demand. Sales in China fell 8.4% in July, while competitor BYD's Song remains the country's best-selling EV.
Archer Aviation hits 55-mile test flight milestone. The flight, conducted from Salinas, California, lasted 31 minutes at speeds exceeding 126 miles per hour using a conventional takeoff and landing approach. Archer said the test marked a significant milestone in its envelope expansion program, bringing it closer to FAA certification and its planned commercial launch in the UAE. Additional test flights in the past week hit nearly 150 miles per hour, underscoring the aircraft's advancing performance. AI data centers driving solar demand boom. UBS backs First Solar growth story. First Solar surged 10% to its highest level in 10 months on Monday after UBS named it a top pick, following IRS guidance that largely preserves solar tax credits through 2030. UBS said the decision clears a cloud that has hung over the sector for more than a year. UBS analysts, led by John Wyndham, noted demand for U.S. utility-scale solar is outpacing supply, partly driven by AI data centers targeting 100% clean energy. They estimate First Solar's adjusted earnings will rise from $12 a share last year to $32 a share by 2027 and expect upward revisions from 2026 onward. UBS also highlighted Nextracker and Sunrun as preferred names in the sector.
Nextracker hits record high after Guggenheim upgrade on IRS boost. Nextracker surged 9% to an all-time intraday high of $68.75 after Guggenheim upgraded the stock to buy from neutral, setting a $74 price target. Guggenheim analyst Joseph Osher said that among all energy transition subsectors impacted by Friday's unexpected IRS safe harbor update, tracker companies stand to gain the most. He noted that if projects can be accelerated enough to satisfy the IRS's on-site physical work requirements, tracker suppliers would benefit, especially since the IRS specifically identifies racking installation as qualifying activity under the physical work test. While the July 2026 deadline is tight, off-site work of a significant nature tied to specific projects also qualifies, specifically noting mounting equipment, support structures such as racks and rails, inverters and transformers, and other power conditioning equipment. For tracker suppliers like Nextracker, Osher said he sees a significant opportunity to launch manufacturing work for the next several years, even if equipment is not on site until after July 2026. Osher said Nextracker's domestic supply chain positions it to benefit from ongoing project launches over the next several years, even amid foreign entity restrictions.
NVIDIA preps new B30A AI chip for China with NVLink and high-bandwidth memory. NVIDIA is reportedly developing a new AI chip for China, tentatively named the B30A, which is designed to outperform the H20. The single-die chip will deliver about half the computing power of the flagship B300, while including high-bandwidth memory and NVLink technology for fast data transfers, features also in the H20. NVIDIA aims to provide samples to Chinese customers as early as next month, though specifications are still being finalized. Micron, TSMC, Samsung may follow as White House confirms 10% Intel stake talks. The Trump administration is weighing a plan for the U.S. government to take a 10% stake in Intel, requiring about $10.5 billion, Bloomberg reported. The investment would make Washington Intel's largest shareholder, with funding potentially coming from the CHIPS and Science Act. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick is leading the effort, with Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent also involved. Lutnick is also exploring similar equity arrangements with Micron, TSMC, and Samsung. White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt confirmed negotiations with Intel are underway.
Adobe unveils AI-powered Acrobat Studio with text-to-video and image tools. Adobe has launched Acrobat Studio globally, combining Adobe Acrobat, Adobe Express, and AI agents into a single platform. The service offers a 14-day free trial with unlimited access to PDF spaces, AI assistants, and Adobe Express Premium. Pricing is set at $24.99 a month for individuals and $29.99 a month for teams. Users gain access to Adobe Express Premium's full suite, including templates, brand kits, and Adobe Firefly-powered tools like text-to-video and text-to-image.
Oceaneering wins $86 million U.S. Navy contract for submarine repairs. Oceaneering International announced its Aerospace and Defense Technologies segment's Marine Services Division has been awarded an indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity contract by the U.S. Navy's Naval Supply Systems Command. The contract covers repair of valves and actuators for Virginia-class and Los Angeles-class submarines under the Corporate Component Repair Program. Oceaneering is one of 3 suppliers chosen. The base value is up to $86 million with a 2-year initial term and 3 optional extension years. Work will be performed at Oceaneering's facilities.
Nuclear sector declines amid rising supply, geopolitical shifts. Uranium and nuclear stocks extended declines after Kazakhstan's Katco joint venture, Orano Mining plus Kazatomprom, announced plans to ramp up uranium production at the Moincum deposit to 4,000 metric tons per year by 2026, returning to 2021 levels after years of reduced output. Markets are also weighing a possible Ukraine ceasefire and US-Russia thaw, which could reduce the odds of sanctions on Russia's nuclear sector, keeping US uranium producers exposed to Russian competition. Analysts add that the sector sell-off may also be tied to broader risk-off sentiment, with some pointing to an AI winter that could cool tech valuations and spill over into energy and growth-sensitive stocks.
Suppliers told to pause work on NVIDIA's H20 chip for China. The information. The suspension affects Amkor Technology, Advanced Packaging, Samsung Electronics, High Bandwidth Memory, and Foxconn, Back-End Processing. The move follows guidance from Chinese regulators advising companies like Tencent, ByteDance, and Alibaba to stop H20 orders, citing security risks. This reaction came after U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick said on CNBC, "We don't sell them our best stuff, not our second best stuff, not even our third best. You want to sell the Chinese enough that their developers get addicted to the American technology stack. That's the thinking." Senior Chinese leaders reportedly found the remarks insulting, prompting restrictions on H20 purchases.
First new reactors in 40 years. Sweden chooses between GE and Rolls-Royce. Sweden's Vattenfall is weighing a major nuclear expansion at its Ringhals site, choosing between 5 GE Vernova BWRX-300 reactors or 3 Rolls-Royce small modular reactors, delivering approximately 1,500 megawatts of power. The company is also considering an additional 1,000 megawatts to replace 2 decommissioned reactors. This comes after Sweden's parliament passed legislation earlier this year to finance its first new reactors in 40-plus years, citing energy security and the goal of reaching net zero by 2045.
Trump pledges no approvals for solar or wind projects under his administration. First Solar and Enphase Energy were among the S&P 500's biggest losers Thursday after President Trump vowed to block new solar and wind projects, his first direct pledge to stop approvals for renewables. Trump accused solar and wind of driving record-breaking increases in electricity and energy costs, called renewable energy the scam of the century, and said the EPA will end green slush funds riddled with waste and abuse. American Clean Power CEO Jason Grummett countered, calling Trump's claims demonstrably wrong, noting that the 4 states with the highest renewable generation all saw prices drop this year, and the 10 states with the lowest renewable penetration have all seen their prices increase.
Chipotle partners with Zipline to pilot drone-powered food delivery. Chipotle Mexican Grill is piloting a drone delivery program in Texas through a partnership with Zipline. The service, called Zipotle, will begin with a limited group of Zipline users in the Dallas area before expanding more broadly.
Energy Fuels hits milestone with first U.S. production of high-purity dysprosium oxide. Energy Fuels announced the successful pilot-scale production of its first kilogram of dysprosium oxide at the White Mesa Mill in Utah, achieving 99.9% purity, exceeding the 99.5% commercial specification. Energy Fuels said it is the first U.S. company to both produce and disclose commercial-grade dysprosium oxide with unmatched purity levels. Production is expected to continue at approximately 2 kilograms per week until 15 kilograms are produced, after which Energy Fuels will shift to high-purity terbium oxide, with first samples targeted for Q4 2025. Commercial-scale production of dysprosium, terbium, and other heavy rare earth oxides could begin as early as Q4 2026,